Over the last school year, 22-23, we discussed a lot of unruly behavior going on at these schools across the country. Well, what happens when students are acting up all year long and school officials tell parents their graduating middle school children won't be allowed to participate in the 8th grade graduation ceremony? That's exactly what happened at a school in St. Louis, Missouri. Parents are angry that they got to the graduation and school officials refuse to let them and their children through the door. Shout out to Jasmine for sending this story in. That's our Caribbean sister from New York City. Going to go ahead and get into it, but first, take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and click the notification bell for all updates. The city of St. Louis County, sending much love to everybody from Florissant to Ferguson and everywhere around. Drop St. Louis below if you're watching from the area.
Heartbreak for North County parents and their children after the kids are turned away from the 8th grade graduation ceremony. Angry parents called me to get answers from the school district. We headed out to do just that in tonight's You Paid For It. These parents from Westview Middle School in the Riverview Gardens School District are livid. It was supposed to be one of the best moments of their lives for their kids. Instead, it turned out to be one of the worst. This mother and her 14-year-old daughter came to the middle school on Wednesday for her 8th grade graduation ceremony at Westview. Both mother and daughter got the shock of their lives when a teacher at the door told them they couldn't come in. This as her classmates were allowed to pass through.
She was hurt and her feelings was hurt. And it was embarrassing. I wasn't the only parent out.
So you went to the door and they said sorry?
They said sorry.
You and your daughter at
Yes.
the door, and you got turned away at the door.
Got turned away at the door.
This couple ran into the same trouble when they arrived at the door with their daughter, and she also turned away. What did hurt you most about all this?
Honestly, my baby, like her missing out on this experience, and
the tears coming out of her eyes.
She was
the
really
embarrassment that she felt.
She not even.
Staff talked to her like she was an illegitimate person walking down the street and not a student of this establishment.
I called the Riverview Gardens School District. Officials told me they put out a list of no-nos that disqualified kids from participating in the graduation ceremony, even though they graduated and were promoted on to high school. Among the things on the list, bad attendance, fighting, and the like. They say they sent the information to parents and let them know how their kids were faring along the way. Parents I talked to said they didn't get a heads up that there were any problems. One parent even showed me a special certificate praising her daughter along with a certificate of graduation. I went to Riverview Gardens and talked to the superintendent.
Schools do have policies and procedures that we ask all of our young people to abide by, whatever school, and not just in Riverview Gardens, but in all school districts. And there will be points and times when there may not be to the parents' pleasure that a student is removed or not allowed to participate in an activity.
I feel like she was robbed, I was robbed as well, because that was her moment. That was her moment.
True that. The superintendent did say she's going to phone the parents who appeared on our broadcast who said they got a bad deal trying to get into the promotion ceremony. The superintendent will try to ascertain just what happened to figure out just how to make improvements. You know I'm going to stay on top of this deal. After all, you paid for it.
Shout out Mr. Elliot Davis for Fox 2 in St. Louis. Here's the thing, these parents are saying they knew nothing about the no-no list or that their kids wouldn't be allowed in, but the school administration and the school board, they're all saying they have rules and they communicated all of this to the parents. Dr. King, she's a Black woman. She just finished her first year as principal at the school, and Dr. Pruitt Adams, another Black woman, she finished up her first year as interim superintendent. The school in question and the school board, they are both headed up by Black women, so you can't make up any discrimination claims against their race or gender. Also, considering all of that, I'm inclined to believe that something did happen here and these women are just following the rules that they established, unless proven otherwise. If the school is indeed telling the truth, which they wouldn't have much of an incentive to lie, why would angry parents show up to the graduation ceremony if these folks already told you your son or your daughter was on the no-no list of students who won't be allowed to attend? If they warned you ahead of time like they said they did and you received notification from the school, then I will have to place the blame on the parents here instead of the principal and the superintendent. The truth is a lot of these kids, They don't follow the rules at school, and some of their parents are bad examples. Their children are just following their rebellious behavior, disregarding the rules and the orders and showing up there anyway. Listen, if somehow the administrators were wrong, then you will have to take that up with the school board, but it sounds like Dr. Pruitt Adams is standing 10 toes down and basically saying that these children violated some rules. Now, I wish they had also addressed that instead of just telling us your baby was crying. Please tell us what rule did she break that disqualified her, and if she didn't break any rules and this was all some misunderstanding, then we can back you. But we cannot support children and parents disobeying the rules. You just can't go around disrespecting the school authority and thinking that you or your child can do whatever you want to do.
Whatever, I do what I want.
At least they're only in the 8th grade, so they have the opportunity to get it right in high school. Stop being on their worst behavior and get on their best behavior. Stay focused so that this doesn't happen to them again. I've covered several stories here of schools having issues with these students all year long. Students bucking up at teachers, not wanting to follow rules, like the girls in North Carolina and Georgia who violated rules in the classroom and got mad at their teachers for enforcing those rules.
The pain hit me and I was like, my leg, I can't move my leg.
The Rockdale County District Attorney's Office tells Fox 5 that the 15-year-old girl pleaded guilty to aggravated battery against a teacher, which is a felony. Last week, a judge sentenced her to a year in the youth detention center, followed by 5 years of supervised release. What allegedly caused the girl to go off when Turner tried to take her phone.
These cell phones, they're able to bring them to school. It's becoming a huge issue.
And then with the female substitute teacher in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, she quit, saying that she could no longer put her family in jeopardy.
She was in my space. She was behind the desk. I followed protocol for whoever said that I touched her first. Okay? And I tried to call for an administrator or somebody at the office 3 times. But never in my 22 years working with young people have I ever been attacked. But let me tell you something. Within a month, there has been a teacher that was knocked unconscious with her head kicked in. Twice, 2 teachers. Another teacher got a gun pulled on her.
Yeah, it's been a lot going on. So many of these cases, and you wonder why teachers are quitting left and right. You have to establish order in all of these schools, enforce the rules so that things don't get too out of hand, like in these cases. Then we had several school bus situations, from the girl whose mama defended her running up to the school bus with a weapon in New Orleans.
At the end of the day, I'm a woman of God, but I do not respect how my child is being held accountable for something that she was being bullied about. She was being bullied, so that's why she pulled out a firearm. It was in her possession, though it was not supposed to be in her possession. It was in her possession and she pulled it. I don't care how y'all take it, how ignorant y'all say I'm being or whatever, but when a child is under frustration and being bullied, he's supposed to have help and with self-defense or whatever. Y'all too ignorant in New Orleans. I said that. Achille Academy is very messy. Y'all children is messy. You need to put your children in a place because they play with people too much. Nobody don't have time for to be playing with no fucking children all day.
So we went from that situation in New Orleans to the outrageous incident that happened in PG County that I covered, where a group of middle school boys, 14, 15 years old, tried to delete a 14-year-old boy on the school bus. And the victim's mother said it was a 14-year-old girl who planned this out and she set it up to a T. Absolutely crazy. If you missed any of these stories, of course, the links will be below. In all of those situations, I pointed out how this bad behavior and lack of accountability starts at home. And once again, we see the same issue being highlighted here. According to the administrators, they notified these parents and told them their kids wouldn't be able to walk. So basically, they're saying the parents knew, but they showed up to the graduation anyway, embarrassing themselves and their children, and then went on complaining about it on the news. I think this summer, parents, the ones dealing with the behavioral issues, you really have to get your children in order. A lot of you know your kids are out of line, so you need to do whatever you have to do this summer to get your kids on the right path. it's going to be so bad one day that you won't even have any teachers to drop them off to school to. But let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Do you agree with the parents here, or do you agree with the administrators? Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to like and share.